starting, some things to really think about to get yourself prepared for this would be visualizing what it's going to be like in that interview. If you know who you're going to be interviewing with, that's even better. Picture that person or the people that you're going to be interviewing with. Imagine them asking you questions, so that would be a good place to start. Imagine things like, what would be the worst question that you would want to be asked? That can be something to do some tapping on. So what might be, maybe there's a hole in your resume, or maybe there's something that you don't feel quite as qualified to do. Maybe they ask you about that. So if you're feeling that touch of anxiety about a certain area, that might be a place to start tapping. Also, an important thing would be to consider, a lot of employers are going to ask you, what are your salary demands? That can be a really tricky one. Sometimes we think, well, I don't want to ask for too much, but you also don't want to sell yourself short. Because in most cases, they're not going to pay you more than you say that you are going to take. So think about what the salary range might be, and think about what you feel like you would want to ask. And actually practice saying that out loud, saying, you know, I want this amount of money, and actually say it out loud and feel what that feels like. If you can say that and you feel confident in it, good. If you get a little bit of a catch, maybe you want to do some tapping on that. So you actually start tapping on, you know, I want to be paid $70,000 per year, but maybe you don't feel like you're worth that. So that might be where you start getting into some tapping on actually saying the amount of money that you want to earn. So that would be a good place to start with that. Another thing to consider for a job interview would be, maybe you've had some negative experiences in the past with interviews. Did you ever have one that didn't go your way, or you didn't get asked back, or you, obviously, if you didn't get the job? That would be a perfect place to go back to with EFT and just go through that situation. Are there certain places in that interview where things started to go south, or you stick out in your mind that could be holding you back from performing well in a future interview? So those would be some things to consider even before you get into tapping. Obviously, the day that you go in for your interview, you may want to do some EFT. For me, what I did was I started doing that several days ahead of time, just kind of tapping on my general anxiety. Another thing you may want to consider is performance type of things. I know for me, if I'm in an interview situation, I may start to get like a dry mouth, and no amount of water is going to cure that. So you may want to tap on that and say, you know, even though I have this dry mouth during my interview, I deeply and completely accept myself. Another thing you could be, you know, maybe you get really sweaty. Well, I know a lot of us do when we're in difficult situations, so that might be another thing that you want to work on. May also be, I know for myself, is using my hands too much when I talk. That tends to be kind of a nervous habit. So I may tap on, you know, even though I tend to use my hands too much when I talk, when I'm nervous, I deeply and completely accept myself, and then just start going through that. So make yourself a list of things that you want to work on before your interview. Sit down, write those things out. Write out your worst case scenarios. What's the worst thing that could happen in this interview? In most cases, it's that they say no, but also being embarrassed, or not having the right answer, or maybe you overtalk. So those could be some things that you work on. So let's just do a quick example of something that you could do with this. So we'll start with our setup phrase. So we would say, even though I have this anxiety about my upcoming job interview, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this fear that my interview is going to go badly, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this fear that I'm going to get in my interview and start rambling and I'm not going to know when to stop, I know that I'm a great person. And we start at the top of our head. This anxiety, this fear about my job interview, I don't know how this is going to go. if I say too much? What if I don't have the right answer? That would be really frightening. The idea of silence in this interview would be awful. What if I say too much? What if I talk myself out of this interview? What if I'm not qualified for this job? What if I'm not good enough? What if they ask me about my gap in employment? Maybe I don't have the right answer for that. What if they ask why I keep switching jobs? They're going to ask about that. They're going to think that maybe I don't stay places or I don't have loyalty. And maybe I don't. What if my mouth gets too dry? And my chest tightens up? And I'm starting to sweat through my shirt? That sounds horrifying. I know what I want to be paid, but I'm afraid to even say it. They might just laugh me out of the room. Maybe it's not even close to what they want to pay me. Maybe I don't even feel like I'm worth that. I'm not worth that amount of money. I'm not worth that. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe they won't even want to hire me. That would be devastating. Okay. So those are just a few examples of some different phrases and ideas that you can use if you're getting ready for a job interview. Now when you do it, you may want to stay focused on one issue at a time and try to tap that down to zero. Some people are more free-form tappers and they just want to tap on whatever comes to their mind. Whatever you feel like works best for you. I know to be methodical, you may want to make a list and go through all of those things. But like I said, I can definitely vouch that this works extremely well. It just worked very well for me in a recent interview, and can definitely work for you too. Thanks for watching, and thank you for the time.